Turns out you don't have to go to Texas for a chainsaw massacre.
Pieces.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Mr. Hat, and today we're going over the 1983 classic Pieces. It's exactly what you think it is. Love this movie, love the cover. It's so horrible that it's good. This movie is about a killer that's on the loose on a college campus, killing people one by one, just girls. He's targeting girls, and he's taking pieces from them to create this monster of his, this Frankenstein. It's very cheesy, very hokey. The writing and everything's so terrible. But let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over my positives for this film. First up, the gore. This movie is for horror fans who love to see just on-screen gore and brutality. No CGI at all. It's 1983. Everything's practical. Blood spraying everywhere on the walls. Shiny weapons, a gleam of light on it. You can tell this movie was inspired by other movies prior to it, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. I like the opening score when the shit's hitting the fan, and then the blood font. It's very awesome. Love it. There's a lot of things to like about this movie. Just don't go into it thinking it's serious or well thought or well written. No, it's not. Boobs! Tons of gratuitous nudity. Nudity that shouldn't even be there, but it's there. It's like, really? This chick's naked? Why? It's public. It's a public pool. I like the killer outfit. It's basically like this big old trench coat. And then the collar's popped up, and he's got like this face warmer thing, this like beanie or whatever it's called, like wrapped around his face. You can't see his eyes. He's got like shadow over his eyes. He never speaks. The killer breathes heavily in some parts, just like Michael Myers. So yeah, like this movie's inspired by some from prior films like Halloween. I like that the killer uses pieces of his victims to recreate his dead mother, and I like that this is a whodunit aspect. You don't know who the killer is. You just know that it's a middle-aged man because the movie opens up in 1942. There's a murder that takes place, and then it goes 40 years later. The actor who plays Pluto, I believe, I haven't seen it, but I was told that this is the actor who plays Pluto in the Popeye movie, and this guy looks perfect for that role. And I like how he's a red herring, even though he's clearly too big to be the killer. It's fucking hilarious. Like, really, he's a red herring. Why are you wasting my time trying to make me believe he could be the killer? He's not. There's no fucking way. I like that the setting is on a college campus. Makes sense. And it's just perfect. Cliche, I know. But I like the setting, and I like it just adds more comedic elements to it. Like how this killer's getting away with all this shit on a college campus. And this movie is not PC at all. There's a college professor who's gay, and the whole time all the students are like making fun of him behind his back and like snickering out loud about it when he's like walking out of the classroom, you know. And it's just like they're poking fun at him. It's like, that wouldn't fly today. It's kind of weird, but I like it. It's just a nice little touch. Every time before or after the killer kills somebody, he puts more pieces of this puzzle together. A puzzle of a naked woman. It's random, but I like it. Just adds more flavor. I like how the lieutenant in this movie throughout the entire film, he always has a cigar in his hand or in his mouth, but he never has a match to light it. He's always asking someone else for a match, and nobody has a match. Kendall, the main guy in this movie, besides the lieutenants and whatnot, but the main college kid, Kendall, he is a player, and it's just hilarious. He goes from like banging one chick, looks out his window, sees another chick, he's like, screw you. In the middle of sex, he just gets out of bed, looks out the window, sees a chick down there, he's like, I'm gonna go get her now. But he gets his karma later, and it's fucking hilarious. But I'll get to that in my spoiler discussion. And there's also a Friday the 13th poster in Kendall's room, so it makes me like him more. Now let's go over the negatives. First up, the audio is off. Completely. Like a whole like half second to a full second. Things that are being said are not lining up with their mouth at all. And it makes no sense. This movie's in English. It was shot in English, but there's also a Spanish version to it that I heard makes it sound less cheesy. The acting is better in the Spanish version. And the acting in this one is god awful. Like, just line delivery, the dialogue too. The dialogue is terrible. And there's major bad editing in one spot especially, and I'll get to that later. You got the most random scene ever. Again, not spoiling anything yet. This is the spoiler-free section. But random ass scenes, random things happening, random characters popping up with masks to scare Kendall. No fucking reason, just happens and then goes away. They brush it off. Things happen that are just terrible, and then they just laugh it off. Like, oh, you were almost just killed right now, buddy. Yeah, I know, but you saved me. Thanks. You have to suspend belief 100% watching this movie. The killer is killing people on college campus grounds, middle of the fucking day, and walking around with a bloody chainsaw and body parts back to his office. It's just like, and it's a huge campus. So there should be a lot of people, but he's not getting caught. This is the world's worst police department ever. And the police never let the kids know. The kids are never aware that there's a murder spree going on. So every death is their fault. If they had known, they would be a lot more cautious. Now, before we go into my spoiler discussion, let's go over a couple of my awards. The hottest chick in this movie is going to that Pilates girl or yoga girl, whatever the hell she was doing. The elevator girl, the girl who goes in the elevator. I thought she was the most attractive woman. We don't get to see her boobs, but she's still probably the hottest one. Yeah, there's a lot to choose from in this film, so it's hard. And the best scene is going to go to the waterbed kill. I love the way that was shot, but there's some terrible fucking editing in it. But that's still the best scene. Alright, now let's really dive into this film. Spoiler discussion. Alright, so the movie opens up in 1942. We got this 10-year-old kid. And he's doing this naked girl puzzle. His mom catches him, slaps him, treats him like shit, is yelling about the dad who's off and fighting World War II. And he brutally fucking murders his mom. And I love how when he hits her in the face with the axe, it's like bouncing off her head like it's made of rubber, like boonch. It's not like sticking in her head, but then the next shot she's like all bloody. But he's axing his mom to death, teaching you a lesson. Don't ever take your kid's pornography away. He will kill you. And I love how and then like the next shot, he's like sawing the body, like just sawing his mom in pieces. That's why it's called Pieces. The cops arrive, and the kid, what does he do? He's in the closet pretending like he's a victim. Like, someone came in and killed my mom. I'm just an innocent victim here. And he gets away with it. Now, it's 40 years later, 1982. This movie came out in 83, but it's 1982. So we know the killer is somebody who's, like, at least 48, 50 years old. So that narrows it down to, like, the professor or the dean or these lieutenants. But I doubt that. And automatically we get a kill. A woman is on the college campus just studying in the grass, you know, just what college people do. They hang out in the grass area. She's reading a book, and a guy just comes and whacks her head off with a chainsaw and then carries her head off. College campus, he's not getting caught. Probably the best line in this movie is, "The most beautiful thing in the world is smoking pot and fucking on a waterbed at the same time." But she's not the one that gets killed on the waterbed later. There was somebody else, I believe. Then there's a couple having sex on college grounds, out in the open, in the middle of the day. No reason, and they don't get killed. I thought that was odd. I thought they were going to get killed, but yeah, you got a couple having sex in the middle of the day. You can get away with anything on this college campus. And then the next scene, right after that, a girl hands this guy, Kendall, who's a player, he's fucking all kinds of people, hands him a note saying, "Meet me at the pool. I want to fuck you in the water." And then he throws the note away. Immediately, the killer picks it up, knows that she's going to the pool, sends Kendall to the office. So now we know that it's probably the dean. And it is the dean. Spoiler discussion. But the dean goes to the pool. And this is the best fucking scene right here. The woman goes to the pool. This is part of the college campus on a college grounds. So anybody could walk in at any moment. She's got the pool to herself, though. She takes her clothes off. She's wearing like a bikini, a swimsuit. Sees there's nobody around. Takes her top off. It's like, that's just so gratuitous nudity. Like, no woman would do that. Anybody could walk in at any moment. And guess who walks in? Killer. With a big-ass yellow chainsaw set to the side. She's in the pool. What does he do? He takes a skimmer. Something you use to, like, skim and, like, to clean pools. He puts the skimmer over her head. Starts dragging her. And she doesn't do what any rational person would do in that situation, which is to dunk underwater. She gets dragged out of the pool with the skimmer, and then that's like a 10-second struggle. And he pulls her out of the pool, and she's completely like knocked out. She's like so winded. It was like such an exercise. So she's like, ah. Oh. And then he has time to go walk over there, grab a chainsaw, rev it up, slowly walk towards her, and she just stands there like, lets it happen, and screams. So fucking stupid. It's just so hilarious. It's like she's so winded. From what? From what? And the fact that she never swam underneath and was unable to get away from the skimmer is such bullshit, but it's hilarious. And then after they find her body hacked into pieces, one piece missing, these cops don't have a forensics team coming, I guess, and they're like, let's get the anatomy professor in here. And they go, okay, we need your professional opinion. Okay, do you think that this right here, this hacked up body, could have been done by a chainsaw? And they ask that question as there is a bloody chainsaw left at the crime scene. Gee, I don't need to be a professor to know that that was a fucking chainsaw that did it. So now the police department, they hire this undercover cop who's a famous tennis player. Yeah, if you want someone to be undercover, the last person you choose is someone who's famous. And even Kendall knows who this famous tennis person is. No, name one famous tennis person. You can't. Nobody cares. Especially a 20-year-old college kid. Get the fuck out of here. He just knows who she is right away. Like, oh my gosh, you're that tennis player. Yeah, so if he knows her, everyone's gonna know her. But I like how this police department just has a famous fucking tennis player who works for them now as an undercover volunteer. It's like, fuck off. And then Kendall is basically working for the police department at this point. They don't immediately, like, they immediately just rule Kendall out as a suspect. And they're like, all right, you're working for us. We need you. You hang out with Miss Riggs, our undercover tennis player coach, who's famous apparently, and you're gonna protect her. And we need your help. Even later on, they're like, all right, we need you to go to the police department and go through files with this guy. Even when this other lady is murdered in the elevator, we'll get to that. But after that happens, Kendall arrives to the scene. He's everywhere, just on time. It's perfect timing. He's there. Two cops, they can't get in. And they're like, and Kendall's like, I'll go in and I'll let you guys in. He lets them in and he's like, all right, you go over there and I'll go over. Kendall is taking charge of these cops. He's a fucking student. But they fucking listen to him. They're like, all right, sir, who I just met, you're not a cop. Why am I listening to you? Now let's talk about the elevator scene. So this girl, she hears a noise. She's doing like Pilates or whatever by herself. She's on like the second floor or whatnot. And the elevator is very interesting. It's not like a traditional elevator. It's got like these metal bar cages things that like open and shut. But before that, there's like a glass door you have to open to like get to it. I thought that was odd. But she hears the noise. She stops doing her little dance. And I swear you can see her bush through her clothes. Just saying, you can. It's like see through her tights. Lots of nudity. You can see her. Yeah, whatever. But she is running from this killer. And she's not, like I said, nobody is even aware that there's killings going on. So the fact that she's even like so scared of anything makes no sense. But she heard a noise, so now she's like frantically running. And then she gets to the elevator. She recognizes the killer as the dean. But she doesn't suspect him to be, anybody bad. But she gets in the elevator, and the dean sneaks in with a fucking chainsaw behind his back. And she doesn't recognize that. She doesn't notice it until it's revved up. He takes it out. He even stops the elevator. She's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he takes the chainsaw out, revs it, pulls the choke, and then raises it, and that's when she starts screaming. The fact that he was able to sneak in a fucking huge chainsaw behind his back and she never saw it in that tiny cramped elevator, and he just whacks her arm off with like one fell swoop up, like whoosh, arm goes flying off, blood spraying on the walls. It's awesome, but it's such bullshit. Like, how the fuck? Even like outside the elevator, he had it snuck behind his back. Try doing that. That's hard. I like how a woman walks up to the dean, who's the killer. We find that out later on, but a woman walks up to him and is like, I have some questions about what's been going on lately, and I don't know how the fuck she knows, but she sounds like she has like evidence, like she could have a lead or something. You would want to hear her out, and he's like, nothing's going on here. You're crazy. Whatever. Move along. Nothing's going on here. It reminded me of Officer Barbrady from South Park. Like, move along. Nothing to see here. That's exactly what he said. It's like, really? And then even the Lieutenant Bracken, if that's his name, at the fucking police department, I think the same thing happened there. Like, someone was like wanting to like ask questions, and like she's like, I've been hearing rumors. It was the same woman. I've been hearing rumors. Like, don't you want to hear what they are? Like, what information I could give you? And he's like, you're out of your mind. Nothing's going on here. Professional police business. I don't need any information from you at all. It's like you're complaining about not having help and not enough resources, and this woman's about to help you, and you're like, there's nothing going on. Nothing to see here. Okay, now we get the most random scene ever. The tennis player, Miss Riggs, who's an undercover cop, she's walking the grounds at night. Maybe she's trying to catch the killer. I don't know. But when I tell you this, keep in mind that nobody is aware that there's a killer. Nobody. Just Kendall, the police department, and Miss Riggs. She walks around a corner, and a kung fu professor starts trying to kick her ass for a good 15 seconds before she kicks him in the balls, and then Kendall comes riding in on his motorbike that sounds like a chainsaw, which I thought was funny. And they just laugh it off. She was just attacked. And they laugh it off. And Kindle's like, oh, that's just my kung fu professor. And the kung fu professor says something like, oh, yeah, and it's like very racist today. Like his accent, his excuse was like, oh, I must have had some bad chow or chow mein or something. And that's why I tried to kick your ass for 15 seconds, even though you can't possibly be the killer. You can't possibly be any sort of like physical harm towards me. Like, you're not a threat. Why was he trying to kick her ass? For no fucking reason. He's just like, yeah, sorry, I tried to kick your ass, walks off, they laugh about it, and then they ride off.
What happened here?
Well, he jumped me. There he is.
Oh, hey, it's my kung fu professor. What's the story, Chow?
Oh, I am out jogging, and next thing I know, I am on ground. Something I eat. Bad chop suey. So long.
Take it easy.
So then this girl who was hearing rumors and was trying to help this investigation earlier, she's investigating shit on her own. I honestly don't know how she got any information at all. This is supposed to be kept under wraps like a secret. Only Kindle and Miss Riggs and the police know about it. But she's investigating, and she goes into this room, opens the door, sees a bloody chainsaw, and just goes, whatever. And then goes in the next room, and it's like, really? That you're not gonna run out of there? There's a killer nearby. But she's not listening to my advice. She gets attacked in the next room, and this is where the worst editing ever happens. She's being attacked on the waterbed, stabbed a bunch, and then we see the knife in slow-mo hit her in the back of the head, and then the knife bends. It's a floppy knife, and it bends all the way to the left. It's like at a 90-degree angle now, the knife, completely bent. For a full fucking second before it cuts to like the next shot with like the knife going through her mouth. It's like any professional, even non-professional editor would have known to cut as soon as the knife went to the back of the head. It could have been like a seamless cut to where we saw the knife going towards the head and then out the mouth. It would have been cool. It would have been a really cool death. But instead we get to see this fucking knife bend off her head for a full second. What editor made that fucking mistake? Seriously, that is the worst editing in any movie I've ever seen. I love how the tennis girl, the music turns on and she's like, fuck this, I'm gonna go take a shower now because the music's too loud. Whatever. But she goes to take a shower with the curtain open. Like, it establishes that, like, pans back and we see that the shower's curtain's completely open. Who's that for besides me watching at home? Who takes showers with the shower curtain open? It's just like, really? More gratuitous nudity. But then she gets chainsawed in half, and it's awesome. Like, just the way, like, we see, like, the chainsaw not only, like, go through the door, it looked like a fucking real chainsaw. It's like, she could have got hurt. And it just slices right at her, and she gets chopped in half alive. Alive! It's that much more important to know that she was alive, because it makes it that much more terrible. Lieutenant Brackett even said so. It's so hilarious. The dialogue that Lieutenant Brackett's on the phone, he's like, she was chainsawed alive. Alive, damn it! Do you have any idea how terrible that would have been? She was alive when it happened. It's like, no shit. Are you saying it would have been less worse if she was chainsawed not alive? Yeah, I guess you're right, but still, it's just funny dialogue. It's so terrible. But I do like that she pisses herself before she dies, because you don't see that in horror movies, and you think that as a viewer, like, damn, I'd be pissing my pants, shitting in my pants, I'd be so fucking scared. So I like that she pissed herself. You don't see that in horror movies a lot, unless it's like Saw 6. And then we get Miss Riggs' terrible acting, but it's the most famous line from this movie, and it's one word. Bastard! 3 times she says it. And it just gets worse each time she says it. She's like, bastard! Now this line made me crack up, because I've been pointing out how terrible this campus is and how you can get away with anything in the middle of the day. Miss Riggs is scared now, so she goes to this middle-aged professor who's the gay one. Like, I'm scared, I just need you to walk with me because I'm scared. There's a killer on the loose. Well, yeah, why aren't you suspecting him? He could be the killer. You don't know if he's not. So why are you trusting him so fucking much? Because he's gay? You don't even know that. Everyone else does, but you don't. But whatever. But here's the line that made me crack up. She's like, I'm scared. Something could happen. And he's like, out here on the campus in the middle of the day? I don't think you have anything to worry about. On the floor rolling. Like, I was cracking up. Like, really? Nothing could happen? Did you see the rest of this movie? Everything's the middle of the day. Just a little odd thing I want to point out. They're eating Wendy's, but it says Wendy on it. Like, it looks just like the logo. The logo's on there. The font, everything matches up. But it says Wendy instead of Wendy's. The Wendy's used to be called Wendy at any point? Because I tried to look it up. I don't think it ever was called Wendy. So if there was like a copyright issue with this movie, so that it'd take the S off, I don't know. It's not worth mentioning, but I just wanted to. Okay, so then we find out that the dean, Mr. Reston, whatever, he was the killer. He killed his mom. It messed him up. I don't think that messed him up. That's what they say. They're like, he killed his mom and it messed him up. It's like, no, he was fucking messed up before he killed his mom. But we find out that he's the killer basically because he's drugging Miss Riggs, her coffee, and it's like, well, there, you spoiled it. He gives her this drug that like paralyzes her so she can't move, but she still kind of moves. Her acting's pretty bad, so it's like hard to tell. Like, what are you trying to tell me? Can you move? Can you not? Because you're kind of and you're kind of not. It's weird. But I love the score. Like when it just gets really ramped up and it's so fucking cheesy when Kendall and the two cops, they go to the dean's place because they know it's him, and they get in there. They just check the living room. Like the door opens up to the living room. They see her paralyzed on the couch, and they go, all right, Kendall, you stay with her. We're going to go out and call an ambulance. We're going to leave you in this place that could possibly still have a killer looking around the corner. Really? You're not going to check the kitchen? Which is an ugly kitchen, by the way. Ugly fucking kitchen. I know. Weird thing to harp about, but it's fucking ugly. And they just leave him there. They don't even check the fucking house. Just like, open the door. Paralyzed body. We're leaving. You stay here. So then the dean tackles Kendall to the ground. They get in this knife fight. And then the lieutenant walks back in, and he's a fucking crack shot because he just BAM! And shoots him across the room like 15, 20 feet away, right in the fucking head. And it doesn't even look like an actual bullet hole. It looks like they just shot him in the face with like a paintball. It just looks like a little red splat. And it like takes like a whole half second after the bullet hits him in the head for him to actually like stop moving and die. So stupid. So cheesy. You gotta love it. And then after like all that, they're like laughing it off like, you could be a cop. You want to be a cop? It's like he basically is a cop at this point. He's been with you guys all day long, doing everything police work, like all the police work he's been doing. He's been there searching through the files, giving cops like directives, like you go there, I'll go here. So I basically think he is a cop at this point, and it's just fucking hilarious. But then this door opens up, and the Pieces lady falls onto Kendall, and he's screaming, and then it like fades away, and then they come back. The next scene starts, and they're laughing it off. They're like, oh, you still want to be a cop? And then Kendall goes to get his jacket, and this corpse made of 6 different women, all kinds of pieces sewn together. This is the world's biggest shock ending. I put this up there with Sleepaway Camp. The woman, this dead corpse, one of the arms, goes up, grabs Kendall's dick and balls and squeezes it right off. And you just hear the pop and all the blood gushing out of his jeans. And Kendall screaming. The best acting right there, because that's real pain. It looks like they actually grabbed his balls like, you scream, damn it. And that's instant karma right there, because he was fucking this girl earlier and then he just left her in mid-sex to go flirt with this middle-aged tennis player. And it's like, you got what you deserved. You've been fucking all these girls, fucking them over. And now your dick don't work no more because your dick's gone, buddy. Best, worst horror movie ever. This movie's terrible, but it's that terrible that you just fucking love it. It's awesome. But since it's so terrible, I can't recommend people actually go see it. But if you're a horror fan, when it comes to Pieces, I would say borrow this one from a friend or rent it if you can. I doubt it. At Redbox. Mr. Had Award for Best Kill is going to go to the locker room girl who gets chainsawed in half. She pisses herself, and it's pretty scary the way they shot it. And the Mr. Twig Award for the worst kill is going to go to the dean who gets shot in the face. They should have ripped his dick off. And those are my thoughts on this incredible masterpiece of a film. What did you think about this film? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Hit this like button. Follow me on social media if you would like. And you can subscribe in about 5 seconds to see more. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah.